Hi everybody, it's Cray and I teach watercolor, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter postcard for our Let's Make Art History Volume 2 box. So our recipient this month is Annette. She is the matriarch of a family of 3 children, 8 grandchildren, 4 great-great-grandchildren. She recently fell and broke her hip and had to move into a long-term living facility, and so we just want to send her some love. The person who nominated her said that she's just has endless wisdom and love and gratitude. And so we just want to send a little art hug to Annette to know, so she knows that we're thinking about her. And our inspiration for this postcard is going to be our Tree of Life project. And as I was thinking about what I wanted to do for this, I thought, what if we actually turn this into like a Tree of Love postcard? So we're actually going to slightly adjust this so these little swirlies actually meet each other to turn into hearts. Okay? I just want to remind you though that this postcard is all about the intention of sending thoughtfulness and care. So if your heart is telling you to make something else, feel free to make something else. And sometimes we're so stressed about not saying the right thing that we end up not saying anything. And, you know, that can be really hard. And I think if we can take the time to create something, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not the greatest thing in the world, it still feels really good to receive something, to know that someone made something with their hands and thought about you enough to mail you something. That's just not that common anymore. And so I really believe that through the power of art, through the power of community, and through the power of kindness, that we can make this a better place. So I'm using the supplies from this box. Specifically, I have on my palette my lemon yellow, honey brown, and fuchsia. You can use whatever colors you have. I have my 4 brushes here, and I'm going to kind of walk you through how to approach drawing this since we don't have an outline for this project. So I'm going to just use a pencil to sketch. I'm going to sketch darker so you can see what I'm doing, but try and make your sketch as light as possible. And I'm going to start with the trunk of my tree. And it's okay to erase lines. So I'm going to think like, okay, I want my tree to be centered. So it's going to come out to here. And then what I like to do is I like to sketch the trunk area, and think of a trunk of a tree as 2 parallel lines that eventually meet up. So they gradually are going to get thinner and closer together. Okay. So if this is my tree line here and my trunk is going to keep going, then same thing with this, okay? And then I'm gonna think through, okay, where do I want branches to come out? So I'm gonna have branches come out here, and they meet right back. So you can kind of use this as a way to come back into your tree. Now, one thing I wanna call attention to is most of the time as tree branches grow, the branch part is always thinner in width to the trunk area. So as you're having your branches come out, I wouldn't have a branch be this thick, because that's like, then your tree is like falling over. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a good rule of thumb, where this one's probably okay, but maybe cutting it a little bit close. So you can always just make some adjustments. And I'm going to have this one come out this way, here, and kind of following this guide a little bit, have that come back. This probably got a little bit too thick, so you can go in and thin it down. And I kind of like how the top of this goes this way, and it kind of like splits instead of stays like one straight up and down. So I'm going to have that go out this way, and this go out this way. And you can see I'm kind of just making marks. This isn't about it being the tree. Actually, with these kind of look like horns right now, don't they? It's kind of funny. So, okay, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about how I want my swirls to go. So if I want them to create kind of a heart shape, then I need to think about like these kind of all swirl like this, and I'm going to have one swirl up and one swirl down, right? So I'm going to have a branch come out this way and swirl, and a branch come out this way and swirl. And I'm going to do the same thing that we did with our outline for this project, which is I'm just going to draw the swirl as a single line and then let my paintbrush kind of make it thick. And this one, I'm gonna come here, and maybe this guy comes out that way. And they don't all have to make hearts, just so you know. I just thought that that was a cute little way to send some love, but compositionally, if we need a little swirly guy coming out this way to like fill in some areas, that's okay too, because I think the hearts will still be pretty obvious. You're just gonna keep kind of going. And your sketch doesn't have to be totally fleshed out. Like for me, I just usually like to do enough to get me going. And then if I like, once I'm like, okay, that's good, I can start now. Maybe, so that's all different depending on where you're at in your journey. So maybe just a little rough outline is good. Maybe just talking about the idea is good. Or maybe you really need to flesh out the sketch and kind of do a little bit more detail. That's okay. It's going to be different for everybody. So just do enough drawing that makes you feel comfortable enough to like move forward. And I think this line got too straight. I kind of want to curve it. And maybe even when you're making your hearts, they don't have to be like, this is a little curl and this is a big curl. You know what I mean? Like play with the different sizes. Experiment. Okay, that feels good. Can they see that fairly well?
Yep.
Okay. Now we get to the fun part, which is painting. So I'm gonna do my background wash. I really like the warm colors of this project, so I'm gonna keep those. I'm not gonna keep the same type of pattern and symbolism that Klimt did here in the Tree of Life, so I'm gonna keep it more about a tree and these warm colors. But remember, this is your painting, so you can make different decisions. Take my 1-inch wash, grab some yellow, grab a little bit of honey, grab a little bit of fuchsia to warm that all up, to make kind of like this gold, warm color. And add water to it because we want it to be light in value. And I'm just going to paint over the whole thing. Edge to edge. Okay, now we're gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna use my round 6 because it's a little bit smaller. In the project itself, we used our round 12, but this is a much smaller piece of paper, so I'm gonna use a smaller brush. However, if you feel more comfortable using the 12, go ahead. And I'm gonna mix a darker brown, so I'm just gonna use the color that I've already mixed together, add more honey, add more fuchsia, and just kind of see where we're at. That's good. And then I'm just going to paint. Remember to add water and kind of spread out the color that you've already put down. Not only will it make your paint go longer, but just that act of using water to spread out color will create different values. Values is the lightness and darkness of a color, so it's just going to create some light areas, some dark areas, and that is actually what creates form and dimension. And then as you get to your curled parts, just go for it. I'm not talking because I'm really focusing in on my curly parts here. And remember too that your sketch or outlines that we provide for you are really just kind of a starting point. And as you paint, you're gonna make changes. So for me, I'm like, okay, I feel like I need something down here, but maybe I won't make that decision yet. Let me paint the rest of it and then I'll come back to it. I guess what I'm saying is you have permission to adjust even from your own sketch. And then while it's wet in some areas, if you want to drop in a little bit of darker value here or there, just to kind of exaggerate those different values, create some visual interest, feel free. And remember, not every swirl has to turn into a heart. Just enough. I feel like there needs to be one right here, just a little guy. This style actually kind of reminds me of Tim Burton a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
It is so satisfying doing these curved lines. Just remember to try and keep your tree widths kind of true to that rule. This one, it probably got a little bit hairy. Like, by hairy, I mean this branch turned out a little bit too thick than maybe I would have liked, but it's really not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. Do need another heart though over here. Do that. That. And your tree can keep going past what we kind of sketched out here. You can do hints of it still kind of continuing on. Maybe I'll do that over here. Just kind of fills in the space. I feel like I need another one here. Just deciding if I want it to come down this way or this way. I think this way. Okay. This actually looks a little bit more like a actual heart, that shape, you know? Okay, that is feeling pretty good. I do want to fill in, like there are some areas where I'm like, that should be filled in. I do want something here, and I think my tree should actually keep going past this. So this is where like we followed our sketch roughly, and now we can look at our painting as a whole and say, what else does it need? Or does it feel complete? Or are there some areas that I need to kind of address? And that feels good. I want something here. Cool. And I feel like I should have something else over here too, coming down this way. And this is where in your mind's eye, you need to kind of like envision, what would it look like? Do I want a big curl coming out here, coming out here? And sometimes even just doing the brush mark over the area and pretending you can see that is helpful. I kind of want to do one more heart. So I got to think about like those shapes meeting together. Sorry, I just saw that. I wanted to blend that out. So if I do, yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to have it come out and curve back in, and then have a little guy meet it on the other side. And I'm going to have this branch keep going over here, maybe just kind of like it's splitting off. And maybe this one should keep going too. There we go. And I kind of want a little guy coming out over here. Well, that feels pretty good. I think that feels full. And then, like, you can go back and if you need to adjust your trunk width a little bit, you can. If you want to put some darker values in some areas, you can. You can see I'm kind of thickening up just a little bit my trunk. And maybe I'll put some darker values throughout just to let it create some variation, some movement. Do you think you can tell that those are hearts? Yeah? Okay. I mean, we do have fuchsia too, so even if you can mix your fuchsia and your yellow together to get a red, and maybe you can do like little hearts hanging off the tree. I'm not going to do that because I feel really good about my swirl. So I don't think that needs that, but this is your painting, this is your creative practice, this is your artwork. So if you're just like, actually, heart hangings off of ornament, heart hanging off of the heart tree is speaking to me, do it. Go for it. Or maybe you're just like, actually, these hearts are not speaking to me. I'm going to do something else. That's cool too. Just do it. Whatever you're going to do, just do it. Okay. Should we untape it?
Yes.
I'm going to let it dry for a second with my heat tool. All right, let's carefully remove this tape. And for me, when I remove tape, you want to pull at a 90-degree angle away from the painting, gently and slowly. Is that a 90-degree angle? Okay. There we go. There's our postcard.
It's beautiful.
This was fun. And I hope that you guys take the time to do this, whether it is painting something else, whether it is painting this. Just take a minute, grab a friend, grab your mom, grab your neighbor, grab your child, paint a postcard for somebody, and just send it in the mail. They come pre-stamped, they come pre-addressed. We're just trying to make it so easy for you that all you have to do is take 20 minutes out of your day and then drop it in the mail. If you do not have this box, this came in the Let's Make Art History Volume 2 box, but if you're not a subscriber, we still ask that you participate. If you email our customer happiness team, they would be happy to share the address with you and you can make your own. You can email them at
hello@letsmakeart.com.
Thank you so much. And if there is someone that you think could benefit from a art hug from our Let's Make Art community, you can go ahead and nominate them on our website. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to not only make something for yourself, but make something for someone else. If you're nervous about sending postcards in the mail, we do sell a wax that you can use to rub on top of your card, and that will protect it from weather, water, smudging, all of that good stuff. That's called Dorland's Wax Medium. It's excellent. And I think that's all I gotta say. So thank you so much for painting with me. We'll see you next time. Bye.